Germany. Whenever we think who was the worst person in history, a certain German leader comes to mind, and his name is Adolf Hitler. But since Hitler, how has his country changed, and how do they live now? Preview. Location. Germany is in the center of Europe. Cuisine and foodways. Is there really anything other than sausages? Language and dialect. Deutsch is one of the hardest languages to understand and to learn. Religion. Germany's religion creates problems in everyday life. History. What did Germany do after World War II? Sports. The Bavarian Bayern and the German machines take over football. Location. Germany is located in Western Europe and is surrounded by 9 countries: Netherlands, Belgium, France, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, Poland, and Denmark. Germany has two coasts on two seas: the North Sea, next to Sweden and Poland, and the Baltic Sea, next to Denmark and Netherlands. Germany's location is in a very strategic place, where it's in the middle between all the most prominent countries, giving it an excellent economy through trading. Cuisine and foodways. Unlike people who think Germany only has sausages, they actually have a wide range of foods in its cuisine, but they're so hard to make that it was impossible for them to spread around the world. For example, Molchen from Swabia is a lot like ravioli but bigger, square pockets of dough with filling. A traditional combination is minced meat, breadcrumbs, onions, and spinach, all seasoned with salt and pepper. They're often simmered and served with broth instead of sauce, sometimes pan fried with butter. Käse Spätzle. Spätzle is originally from Baden-Württemberg, essentially a sort of pasta. The noodles are a simple combination of eggs, flour, salt, splash of fizzy water to fluff up the dough. Traditionally served with as a side of meat dishes or dropped into soups. It can be spiced up by adding cheese. The Käse Spätzle variant is an extremely popular dish in the southern Germany, especially Swabia, Bavaria, and Aluga region. Yet, if we talk about Germany, we cannot not talk about sausages. There are 1,500 variations of sausages in Germany, some very abstract, and others are as normal as it comes. Some examples of the most famous are like blood sausages, Blutwurst, Frankfurter, Bockwurst, Lenjager, or Weisswort. They're made from chicken, pork, or beef, or a mix of any two. They can be served with pretzels, beers, pasta, or simply on their own. And you choose to eat one kind or the other depending on what time of the day it is and what meal you'll be eating. They're made in all kinds of ways: smoked, jerky, grilled, or even pickled. Language and dialect. Language and dialect. German language, German Deutsch, the official language of both Germany and Austria, and one of the official languages of Switzerland. German belongs to the West Germanic group of the Indo-European family language. German dialects can be divided into Low German dialects, Niederdeutsch, or used in the north, High German dialect, Hochdeutsch, used in the middle, in the south of the geographic area where Germany is naturally spoken, the so-called German Sprachraum. Deutsch is known around the world for being one of the hardest languages to learn, because most words used in Deutsch you won't be able to find in any other language. Also, there's a lot of variations to letters that change the pronunciation and create this deep way of talking that everyone is familiar with. German is sometimes considered a very hard language. For example, in this article about early childhood educators, competencies for supporting children's academic language skills. In Germany, they talk about German assessments that are added before the primary grade for kids to make sure they don't need special care or specific language classes. Some most common German greetings like hi, hello, good morning, guten Morgen, good evening, guten Abend. Religion. In the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism, Luxembourg, 1904-1905, contended that Protestantism is particular Calvinism, promoted a new attitude emphasizing diligence, thrift, and the person calling. The Protestant ethic, Weber famously argued, was the deceive factor in the emergence of capitalism. In this book, Religion and Work Microevidence from Contemporary Germany, he talks about how religion affected working Germans back when Christian religions were introduced in the country. In Germany, there were two big groups, Protestants and Catholics, both Christian but with very different ideologies, which created conflict throughout Germany's history. Using microdata from Comparative Germany, this paper investigates the effect of Protestantism on work-related outcomes. In several ways, Germany is ideally suited for such an analysis. There exist only two major religious blocs, Catholics and Protestants. Each comprises approximately one-third of the population, while non-religious individuals account for about 20%. Moreover, the German population is relatively humongous, and industrial differences with Germany are negligible compared to those in cross-country setting. British socialism, Christianity, especially dissenting Protestantism, was far more important streak. In this article, I would like to modulate the stark contrast contained in this commonly held view by looking at the slight different time frame than MacLeod, and by emphasizing more the ambiguities and uncertainties of the relationship between socialism and religion in both countries. The stark contrast so far painted of the relationship of organized religion with socialism in Britain and Germany needs to be moderated somewhat. For a start, many churches in Britain have strong ties to Labour's politics opponent. Most nonconformists are traditionally supporters of the Liberal Party, whereas in many places in England, the Anglican Church was also known for the Tory party prayer. As Jacqueline Turner has pointed out in her discussion of Labour Church, it was above all the social discrimination against working class members in many Anglican and evangelical configurations with a distinct middle class continuity that alienated workers from the traditional churches in Britain. History. Everyone knows the history of Germany with the two world wars and all the problems they had. But what happened after World War II, and how did Germany come back? After the Second World War, Germany was cut in half, with the eastern half controlled by Russia and the western side by USA, Great Britain, and France. Conflict arose between the two sides, so they built the Berlin Wall, cutting the capital in half. But after 28 years, the wall was destroyed, but the separation of West and East Germany was still there till 1990. At that same time, Western Germany really thrived and took the Industrial Revolution to a new level, with cars were a big focus for German companies at that time, with Mercedes-Benz and BMW taking over the world with the strongest cars and most luxurious. Sports. With four FIFA World Cups, second only to Brazil with five, and three UEFA Euro Cups, Germany are one of the strongest companies to ever play the game. And even all German teams have 8 UEFA Champions League trophies and 7 UEFA Europa League. Germany has throughout history had some of the best players in history like Gerd Muller and Mesut Ozil. Germany also the most country to reach the FIFA World Cup final. The German team Bayern Munich is only the second team in history to win the sextuple, which is winning 6 trophies in one season. Summary. Germany is in the very middle of Europe, surrounded by 9 countries and 2 seas. Germany has a wide range of food in their cuisine, but with 1,500 variations of sausages, it is on top of all of them. Germany, Austria, and Switzerland speak Deutsch, with different dialects, of course. Even Germany itself has 5 different dialects, depending on where you're from Germany you are. Germany's religion is either Protestant, Catholic, or non-religious. Germany created a crazy industrial revolution after the separation after the Second World War. Germany thrived in football its whole life. The clubs and the national team are some of amongst the strongest ever. Conclusion. Germany is one of the strongest countries in history and always knows how to come back from a defeat. Your history alone doesn't make you who you're bad. Your current actions make you who you are.